Well, good morning. Welcome back in. It's April 29th. April is already almost out the door. Feels like this month has flown by. Welcome back in as always. I'm Kyler Collum. This is the Dakota Studios. Thanks for checking out the Daily Brief this morning. Before we jump right into this day in history, make sure you check us out on mydakotan.com so you can get all today's headlines in full and you can check out the full article for them as well. Couple things for in history today. Joan of Arc arrives to relieve the siege of Orleans in 1429. Fast forward a few hundred years to 1862 in the Civil War. The capture of New Orleans is taken place by Admiral David Farragut. 1975 in Vietnam, Operation Frequent Wind occurs when the U.S. begins evacuating Saigon and the surrounding area, knowing an imminent takeover of the North Vietnamese. And in 1992, the L.A. riots begin after the trial of the officers that incited the Rodney King beating. So, some full this day in history for April 29th. Now, let's jump into the headlines. Got some more details of the Ray Holmberg case keep coming out. I read the report in full over the weekend. It's astonishing what it says, a lot of it. So make sure you check out My Not Talk this afternoon with Jonathan, or this morning, excuse me. It's a couple hours from now. It's at 9 a.m. With Jonathan and I as we we'll talk about it. I'll go over it and kind of lay some things out as well. But make sure you check that out. Call logs show Holmberg and former Attorney General communicated amid federal sex crime investigation after the investigation began, and Stenehjem for sure knew that he wasn't supposed to be in contact with him. North Dakota Dems push for new mandatory reporting laws in response to Holmberg emails, following new revelations that a UND official may have known about Holmberg's crimes years before his arrest. Lawmakers rejected a last-minute bill that would have made legislators and higher education officials mandatory reporters of child sexual abuse. Despite growing public outrage and calls from Democratic leaders for reforms, a Senate committee voted 4-1 to block the proposal, arguing it was unnecessary and too late in the session to take up. Meanwhile, questions continue to mount about missed opportunities to intervene and protect potential victims. Lawmakers selected for a committee that makes study decisions for the interim period. As the 69th Legislative Assembly wraps up, lawmakers have elected the 25 to 26 Legislative Management Committee to guide the state's interim work ahead of the next session in 2027. The 17-member panel will oversee which studies to pursue, appoint interim committees, and stand ready to reconvene if the legislature if needed. With potential federal funding cuts looming, the committee's choices in the coming months could significantly shape North Dakota's political and fiscal landscape. The House kills a term limit start date bill after conference committee stalemates. A bill to clarify the start date for North Dakota's new legislative term limits law failed in the House Monday, deepening uncertainty about how and when voter-approved term limits will be applied. Lawmakers rejected House Bill 1300 by 61-28 vote after a divided conference committee effort. The defeat leaves a separate resolution proposing to expand term limits to 16 years per chamber as the only term limits measure headed to voters in 2026. North Dakota farmers feeling the effects of RFK Jr.'s health food bans. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Make America Healthy Again movement, which bans some dyes that are heavily banned over in Europe, also targets seed oils like sunflower and canola, raises some alarm among North Dakota farmers. With North Dakota leading U.S. production of these crops, growers warn that Kennedy's rhetoric, combined with some tariff talk, is already hurting prices and threatening planting decisions heading into this year. Canadian election updates. The Liberals won. Mark Carney will be the Prime Minister of Canada once more. So after a shocking turnaround where the Conservatives were seen to be the first shoe-in to win this a few months ago, the Liberal Party spun a big comeback in Canada and ended up winning. Another big one, a massive power outage in Spain and Portugal leaves thousands stranded and millions without light. Massive and unprecedented blackout swept across Spain and Portugal yesterday, stranding tens of thousands of travelers, knocking out communications and power, and forcing cities to a standstill. Authorities say the cause remains unknown, but stress it was not a cyber attack as both countries scramble to restore full power by today. So that wraps up our headlines. Another big one that happened yesterday, too. The honor flight came back into town here in Minot, and there was a big tribute to them at the airport. A whole bunch of people showed up to honor them. Really, really amazing scene. We'll talk more about it today in Minot Talk as well. Make sure you check that out. 9 a.m. Jonathan and I are going to break down so much of what's been going on over the last couple weeks, both in the city and in the state. And then later this week, we will have ND Talk on Thursday. I believe we have Marvin Nelson, former Democratic nominee for governor here in the state, coming on. I will work to confirm that for Thursday, of course, though. So, as always, thanks so much for watching. That's the end of the daily brief that I have for you today. And as always, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, leave a comment in all of our posts, and of course, hit the bell button for notifications and check us out on mydakotan.com to get the latest updates for all the news sources local to you here in Minot and North Dakota. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.